Welcome to the session on algebraic methods, algebraic fractions. The objectives for this session are to multiply and divide algebraic fractions and add or subtract algebraic fractions. Algebraic fractions are similar to numeric fractions. They can be simplified by cancelling common factors and finding common denominators. To multiply fractions, cancel any common factors and then multiply the numerators and then the denominators. Let's take a look at an example. Simplify the expressions shown on your screen. Pause the video and have a go. Press play when you're ready to view the solutions. So let's solve part A first. We are required to simplify 2 over 7 times 7 over 6. So let's solve this. This can be rewritten by cancelling the 7's as shown and by cancelling the 2 and the 6 to 1 and 3 as shown. And then multiplying gives 1 times 1 is 1 over 1 times 3 is 3. And now for part B. We can cancel the b's as shown, and we can leave the a and the d as they are as shown. Then multiply to give a times 1 is a over 1 times d is d. And now for part C. Let's first factorise what we can. We can't do anything here, and we can't do anything here. However, we can factorise x squared minus 1 to x plus 1 times x minus 1 as shown. And then we can cancel top and bottom the x minus 1's as shown. Then we have 1 over 4 times 5 over x plus 1. And then multiplying gives us 1 times 5 is 5 over 4 times x plus 1 as shown. Now let's take a look at another example. We are required to simplify the fractions shown on your screen. Pause the video and have a go. Press play when you're ready to view the solutions. So let's solve example 2a first. We have a over b divided by c over b. We therefore turn over the second fraction and multiply instead. So we have a over b times b over c. Next we cancel, as shown, the b's, and we leave a and c as they are. Then multiply across gives us a times 1 is a over 1 times c is c. And now for part B. We have one algebraic fraction divided by another. So we leave the first algebraic fraction as it is, and then turn the second one upside down and multiply. We then see if we can factorise further. We can leave x plus 3 over x minus 3 as it is, and factorise x squared minus 9 to give x plus 3 times x minus 3. And of course we leave 4x plus 1 as it is. We can cancel the x minus 3's as shown, and then multiply this fraction by this one. To give x plus 3 squared all over 4x plus 1 as shown. And now for example 3. Simplify the expressions shown on your screen. We begin with part A. So in order to add two fractions, we need to make sure that each fraction has a common denominator. So let's do that with our fractions. 2/5 is going to be multiplied top and bottom by 4. And 1/4 is going to be multiplied top and bottom by 5. This will then mean that our fractions that we are adding will have the same common denominator, which is in this example 20. So we have 8 over 20 plus 5 over 20. And then we can add to give 13 over 20. And now for part B. Again, we are adding two fractions, and this time we're adding algebraic fractions. Of course, to add or subtract two fractions, we need to find a common denominator. So let's solve this. The common denominator that we will have is 12x. So for the first fraction, a over 3x, we multiply the numerator by 4 and the denominator by 4, as shown. And for the second fraction, we multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 3 to give 4a over 12x plus 3b over 12x. And this, of course, gives us 1 over 12x times 4a plus 3b. And now for part C. This time, we're subtracting two fractions. However, we still need to find a common denominator. So let's solve this. We're going to multiply the first fraction in the numerator and the denominator by x minus 2. And the second fraction, we're going to multiply top and bottom by x plus 5. So we now have a common denominator, x minus 2 times x plus 5. And now we can subtract, as shown. To give minus 7 over x minus 2 times x plus 5. And finally for part D. Again, we're subtracting two fractions, so we need to have both fractions sharing a common denominator. We can actually factorize the denominator of the second fraction. So we're going to leave the first fraction as it is for now, and the numerator of the second fraction as it is, And here's this denominator factorized, x plus 2 times x minus 2. So clearly, all we now need to do, in order for both fractions to have a common denominator, is for us to multiply the first fraction, top and bottom, by x plus 2, as shown here. Then we expand the brackets for the first fraction, and then subtract 4, and put everything over the common denominator. And finally tidy up to give 2x over x plus 2 times x minus 2. This brings us to the end of this session. If you have understood its contents, you should be able to multiply and divide algebraic fractions, and add or subtract algebraic fractions. Thank you very much for listening. To understand this topic in greater depth, do attempt the exercises in your textbook related to this topic.